A frantic and terrified Donald Trump was up late last night, rage posting, threatening now to sue ABC and Disney for allowing Jimmy Kimmel to air that episode last night. Donald Trump posted, "I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. The White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled!" Exclamation point. "Something happened between then and now because his audience is gone. And his talent," and he puts that in quotes, "was never there. Why would they want someone back who does so poorly, who's not funny, and who puts the network in jeopardy by playing 99% positive Democrat garbage? He is yet another arm of the DNC. And to the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution. I think we're going to test ABC out on this. Let's see how we do. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. This one sounds even more lucrative. A true bunch of losers. Let Jimmy Kimmel rot in his bad rating."
All right, so you are not going to believe this. A frantic and terrified Donald Trump was up late rage posting, threatening to sue ABC and Disney for letting Jimmy Kimmel back on the air, and he typed it like a guy trying to sue gravity. He posted, "I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. To the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution. I think we're going to test ABC out on this." That's not me paraphrasing, that's the quote. The New York Post and Yahoo both captured the tantrum, complete with the part where he bragged about squeezing ABC for money the last time he went after them, which, fun fact, is not how defamation or campaign finance law works. But sure, flex on a punchline. A quick YouTube check-in. If you want receipts with jokes, hit subscribe right now and tap like. It tells the algorithm to stop feeding propaganda cupcakes and start serving facts with punchlines. Now, the context. Disney put Jimmy Kimmel Live back on ABC, but two of the biggest station groups in America, Nexstar and Sinclair, said they're still not airing him. That means large chunks of the country hit the guide last night and got late news or reruns instead of Kimmel. Reuters put the math in print, Axios mapped city-level blackouts, and The Verge spelled out that we are living through the first true late-night shadow ban on basic cable. That's not a metaphor, it's the grid. And yes, this was not happening in a vacuum. FCC chair Brendan Carr did the public saber rattling that turned into "Who Me clean up on aisle 5. Variety and Deadline documented the sequence. He talked trash about the show, suggested ABC affiliates push back, and like clockwork, Nexstar and Sinclair did exactly that. The Atlantic called it a half-empty threat, which is exactly the point. You don't need a revoked license to chill a newsroom. You just need an official hint that pain could arrive. Meanwhile, Kimmel walked back out and did what comedians do when politicians try to pull the mic. He defended satire, he drew a bright line between mocking grief and criticizing the cynical political exploitation around a tragedy, and he said out loud what every showrunner in town has whispered into their sleeves this week. ABC's recap ran the beats. The Guardian clocked the anti-American to silence comedians argument, then stations in places like DC, Portland, Nashville, and more still preempted him, which Axios tracked in real time. That's the split screen. Network airs it, affiliates flinch, viewers get homework. Are you seeing the pattern here, or am I losing it? Drop the word pattern in the comments if you are clocking it. Tell me the wildest quote you saw from Trump's rant. And while you are here, make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss the next Meltdown Breakdown.
And you know, Trump uses that word rot as Donald Trump is rotting before our eyes. His hands are rotting. His health is rotting. His cognitive ability is rotting. You know, I think about this European senior foreign diplomat who said to the press, "This man is stark raving mad. Do Americans not see how embarrassing this is?" As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, writes, some of us do. You know, Donald Trump's speech, obviously, at the United Nations was perhaps the most embarrassing speech ever given at the United Nations. As Donald Trump, well, I'll let Governor Gavin Newsom describe what went down. Trump's teleprompter broke. He told every other nation they're going to hell. He bragged about violating international law. He blamed climate change on immigrants. He complained about the wind not blowing enough and made a plug for his campaign hats. What a disgrace. And by the way, Governor Newsom did not mention the part where Donald Trump's videographer basically broke the escalator as Donald Trump was stepping onto it. And then Trump and his regime and MAGA spent the rest of the day, when they were not attacking Disney and ABC and Jimmy Kimmel and comedians and late night hosts, attacking the escalator and saying that there was a massive conspiracy by the United Nations and the globalists to stop that escalator. They also said that Donald Trump's teleprompter was intentionally broken by the globalists who wanted to stop Donald Trump. Okay.
Mid-roll. Are you seeing the pattern or am I losing it? Type pattern in the comments if you're clocking it and tell me the wildest line you saw in Trump's rant. Also, subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's meltdown breakdown because there will be a tomorrow. All right, let's talk about the other screen he tried to smash. Trump's United Nations speech. Reuters led with the pull quote that made diplomats do the international facepalm, "Your countries are going to hell." He called climate change the greatest con job ever, insisted green energy is a scam, and told Europe it was being invaded. That is not diplomatic language. That is Facebook comment energy from the podium of the UN. Reuters and E&E News have the climate denial quotes on record, and CBS and Foreign Policy carried the going to hell line across their live coverage and transcript archive. It got weirder. He said this is a golden age economically, that under him inflation is down, groceries are cheaper, mortgage rates are down, and only the stock market is up. These are words you say when your staff hopes the Wi-Fi dies. Then he went after London's mayor and pivoted to a joke about boats off Venezuela like he was doing bits at a Boca Raton steakhouse. The Times of Israel posted a full text version that includes the con job, the border panic, and the extended grievance tour about how the UN didn't help him end 7 wars. It's all there, including the part where he wants an award but got a broken teleprompter and a broken escalator. Right, the escalator. Let's do the escalator because Fox spent the whole night telling you there's a vast escalator conspiracy. Here's what actually happened. The escalator at the UN stopped. Trump and the First Lady had to walk. The White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt went on Fox and posted on X that if someone intentionally stopped the escalator, they should be fired. Jesse Waters suggested this was so egregious the UN should be demolished or we should get out entirely, which, buddy, calm down, it is stairs. Reuters and ABC then reported what the UN's spokesperson found. A built-in safety sensor triggered because Trump's own videographer was walking backwards while filming, which you are not supposed to do on a moving staircase. And the teleprompter, the one Trump said wasn't working, was his team's responsibility, not the UN's.
And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter because the teleprompter is not working. Your countries are going to hell. Bruh. The wind doesn't blow. Those big windmills are so pathetic and so bad. The best-selling hat, Gavin Newsom, was right about everything.
Now, while all of that was going on, our government is heading towards a shutdown. In addition to rage posting about Jimmy Kimmel and how the government or Trump individually or both plans to sue ABC Disney because Trump calls it the DNC because Trump doesn't like jokes about him or just doesn't like comedians or late night hosts, which is a authoritarian tactic and trait. Donald Trump canceled the meeting with Democratic Senate leader Chuck Schumer and Democratic House leader Hakeem Jeffries. They were supposed to meet on Thursday to discuss how to avoid a government shutdown. You'll recall that Donald Trump ordered MAGA Mike Johnson and the Republicans do not talk to Democrats about the funding bill.
You can want a Bond villain, but sometimes it's just OSHA. Of course, the outrage treadmill kept spinning. Conservative influencers posted that this was a dry run for an assassination, that we should deport the UN, and that some kind of inside job was afoot. You do not need to take my word for it. Chernovich wrote the dry run line on X. Trump's own press secretary's warning is on X. Former DOJ civil rights nominee Harmeet Dillon posted, "Deport the UN," spelling optional, sentiment clear, and Fox packaged the whole thing as Secret Service investigating Escalator Gate. Then Reuters closed the loop with the actual finding. Again, the safety stop was triggered by Trump's videographer. You don't need a conspiracy when you have a cameraman in reverse. Gavin Newsom, who has a PhD in trolling, clipped Trump's lowlights and posted, "I only walk up escalators because that's what real manly men do," which Newsweek and Yahoo both carried because Newsom is an equal opportunity menace to fragile egos. And yes, he roasted the teleprompter fail, and yes, it went viral because the internet loves a prop gag. If you want to understand how culture moves in 2025, watch a governor turn a UN speech into a meme before the motorcade clears First Avenue. Now, deep breath, because while Trump was rage posting about Jimmy Kimmel and escalators, he also canceled a White House meeting with Democratic leaders that was supposed to be, about keeping the government open, Reuters, The Washington Post, and AP all reported the same thing. He pulled the plug on talks with Schumer and Jeffries. Hours before the shutdown deadline starts getting real, the Senate torpedoed dueling stopgap bills. The House is not even in session on the 29th and 30th because leadership told members to stay home, which PBS noted out loud. The fight in the middle of all this is over things like the Enhanced Affordable Care Act premium tax credits that expire at year-end and would spike premiums if they vanish. Axios and Northeastern's write-up both flagged that exact pressure point. So when you hear, "We're serious about working together," check the calendar. They're not even in town. Oh, and as he's canceling that meeting, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is signaling that the United States is ready to extend a very large helping hand to Argentina. Run by Trump favorite Javier Milei, Reuters' Andrea Shalal reported the large and forceful language. Another Reuters item hours later spelled out swap lines, bond buys, and the Exchange Stabilization Fund as options. Yahoo Finance amplified the $20 billion swap line number. Now, whether you applaud that as smart containment or blast it as a bailout for a libertarian science experiment that cratered, that's your call. But let's not pretend we're broke when it's time to fund agencies at home and then suddenly we're flush when a friendly government abroad is wobbling weeks before their midterms. Facts are stubborn, budgets are choices. Since we're doing geopolitics, one more thing the rest of the world did while Trump was busy explaining that windmills are a scam. Canada formally recognized the state of Palestine, joining the UK and Australia, and that's not rumor mill, that's official statements and wire copy. ABC carried the AP wire on the recognition. Reuters ran the joint move. Global News, CBS, and City News walked through Prime Minister Mark Carney's rationale and the conditions Canada attached. You can disagree with it, but you can't say it didn't happen. The world moved, the US stayed planted, and at the very same UN session, Trump was calling climate policy a hoax and telling countries to close their borders. This is how you lose diplomatic gravity while everyone else redraws the room. Speaking of redraws, Europe is diversifying away from US kit. Denmark just announced its largest arms purchase ever and chose European air defense systems over US Patriots. Reuters, the Financial Times, and Business Insider all covered that. It's not a snub of America's soldiers. It's a message about cost, delivery windows, and autonomy. Meanwhile, Thailand, a US ally, signed an amended deal to take delivery of a Chinese-built submarine by 2028. Newsweek and Thai outlets covered the signing. When you look up 2 years from now and wonder why our leverage feels light in rooms we used to dominate, remember weeks like this. Back home, Fox News tried to rewrite the UN spectacle in real time, calling Trump's address raw truth and spinning the Kimmel blackout as respectable programming choices. For the record, Fox also platformed the escalator conspiracy and the idea that we should destroy the UN building. You can laugh because the rhetoric is ridiculous, but that's how a talking point mutates into marching orders. First it's a joke, then it's a policy, then someone puts it in a bill. CNN and MSNBC, for balance, framed the Kimmel return as a free speech stress test and carried clips of his monologue hitting the anti-American to silence comedians theme. ABC ran the clean recap. You do not have to agree with a single Kimmel punchline to see the through line here. Politicians jawboned, affiliates blinked, a host still did the show. That's the First Amendment on its feet. Comment Squad, your turn. If your ABC station blacked out Kimmel, write blacked out and your city in the comments. I'm going to read a bunch on air tomorrow. Also pick tomorrow's deep dive. Do you want the lawsuit threat unpacked line by line, or do you want the affiliate economics, who owns what and why it matters? Type lawsuit or affiliates and I'll go where you send me. And throw me one line you'd add to Kimmel's monologue, 20 words or less. Funniest one gets pinned. Since we always promise receipts, quick recap of the big ones. Reuters confirmed the affiliate blackout continuing even after Disney reinstated Kimmel, and separately confirmed that the UN escalator stop was triggered by Trump's own videographer, while the teleprompter was his team's problem. Axios mapped blackouts in DC and Portland in plain English. Variety and Deadline documented the FCC chair's saber rattling and his subsequent backpedal. The Atlantic called the threat half empty, but effective as a chill. ABC News wrote up Kimmel's monologue beats. The Guardian carried his free speech argument. The New York Post and Yahoo captured Trump's threat to sue ABC. CBS and Foreign Policy archived the "your countries are going to hell" speech and the climate con job language. Reuters and AP laid out the U.S. posture on Argentina and the growing global recognition of a Palestinian state led by Canada, the UK, and Australia. That's a full circuit across CNN, MSNBC, ABC, Fox, the Hollywood Reporter vibe via Variety, and yes, even the Daily Mail flavor when it adds to the SEO soup. But the backbone is Reuters, AP, ABC, and major outlets with standards. Verdict: the Kimmel saga and the UN speech are the same story wearing different hats. It's Grievance trying to govern the punchline and Spectacle trying to replace policy. Trump tried to sue a monologue off television. He tried to turn a safety brake into an international conspiracy. He tried to tell the world it's going to hell, while Canada, the UK, and Australia rearranged the diplomatic furniture and Europe shopped for air defenses without us. And when governing time showed up, he canceled the meeting that might keep the lights on. You can call that strength if you want. To me, it looks like a guy who keeps missing field goals and then yells at the goalposts for being biased. The job is not to intimidate jokes. The job is to keep the country open, keep allies close, and keep your own staff from tripping the escalator. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to America Facticity for more breaking news. Drop pattern if you saw how fast the joke turned into a legal threat. Tell me your city and whether your ABC station aired Kimmel or swapped him for news. And give me your best 20-word line Kimmel should use tonight. Funniest one gets pinned. According to Reuters, ABC News, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, the Hollywood Reporter crowd via Variety, and even Daily Mail when the SEO gods demand tribute, the punchline is still legal. Tonight, despite the blackout, it was heard.
And remember, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button.